Okay, this is a review of Unit 2. This is on pre-assessment page T7, the second page in your packet. On number 4, it asks for you to fill in the ratio table. If you have 8 folders for every 1 student, that means the relationship between the two is that every time I have a student, I'm going to get 8 folders. So if I have 2 students, I'm going to take 8 twice. So our equation then is 2 times 8, which would equal 16. If I'm going backwards though, I have to think how many 8s get me to 32. So how many 8s get me to 32? And you could count up by 8, or you might know that 4 times 8 equals 32, so that should be 4 students. If I'm doing 5, I again multiply by 8, which gets 40. And then I'm going to do 9 times 8. If I can't do 9 times 8, I'm going to think how much is 10 8s, which is 80, and take one of those 8s away, which would make 72. So 80 minus one group of 8 would get a 72. That's how I know that 9 times 8 is 72. If I'm doing 20 of them, it's like having 10 students twice. So I can just double this number that I got for 10 of them. So if I'm doing a double, I would add 80 plus 80 and get 160 for 20 students. On number 5, it asks for each of the story problems A, B, and C to show your thinking with numbers, label a sketch, or words. Then write an equation that represents the problem and give the answer labeled with the correct units. So Michelle saved 4 times as much money as her brother Sam. He saved $40. How much money did Michelle save? So if Michelle's amount saved 4 times as much money as Sam, whatever Sam's amount needs to be multiplied by 4. So since we know Sam's amount is 40, I'm going to fill in 40 for S and times that by 4 to get Michelle's amount, because Michelle's amount is 4 times Sam's amount. So if I'm going to multiply by 40, I can simply do the 4 times the 4. So my equation is 4 times 40. 4 times 4 is 16, and then I can put a 0 on the end. So that gets me 160. That would be $160. So when they ask you to write the correct units, make sure you're writing the dollar sign. On part B, it asks that Kendra earns money washing windows, and she makes 25 cents for each window she washes. So 25 cents for each window. If she washes 9 windows, how much money does she make? So we're taking 25 cents 9 times, because every time you get a window washed, it's 25 cents. So I am going to think about how much would make $1. 4 quarters, or 4 times 25, is $1, or 100 cents. So if I had 4 quarters, I would have $1. Another 4 quarters would be another $1. That would be 8 windows, because every time I have a window, I have 25 cents. So 8 windows would be $2, and then one more window would be another 25 cents. So one more quarter equals 25 cents. So that's a total of $2.25. Another way to do this, if you are not sure about how many quarters equals $1, is that you could multiply 9 times 25. I would split up the 20 and the 5 and do an array. And 9 times 2 is 18 and put a 0 on the end. And then 9 times 5, because if this side is 9, this side is also 9, equals 45. Add those two amounts together. I'll do that over here. 180 plus 45 is going to get you 225. But since we were talking about cents, it'd be 225 cents, which is the same amount as $2.25. And then the last one on this page says, one day, Kendra and her friend Amy washed windows together. They earned $25 each and split it evenly. Split is one of those division words, and evenly means that we're sharing it equally. So that means I'm going to be splitting that $25 equally between them, and they want to know how much money does each get. Well, since Kendra and her friend are washing the windows together, I'm splitting it between two people. So my equation is 25 divided by 2 equals, and then we're going to figure out how much that would be. So I could be thinking how much would be 20 something times 2 equals 25. If I don't know how much that is, though, I could split it into 2 equal groups by counting out ones, or I might realize that there's if I did $10 to each group or each person, that would still only be 20 of the dollars. And then I could count up by ones. 21, 22, 23, 24, and then I have $1 left. But since I have that $1 left, I'm not just going to throw it away. I'm going to split it equally between the two girls. So let's first see how many dollars each of them has. So 10 and 2 more is 12. And then I had a remainder of $1. So each girl gets $12, and then I'm going to split that leftover amount in half. I can split $1 in half by doing 50 cents each. So each girl is going to get $12.50. And make sure you write your dollar sign and your cent sign. That's the end of this video. Make sure to check out part 2.